What's up, Internet? It's the dumbass Panicos Gaming, and we're doing some more Tauros shiny hunting, which is weird because we already got a shiny Tauros, but we're getting a different shiny Tauros. So, in Scarlet and Violet, you actually have 3 Paldean Tauros. You have the regular, it's called Paldean Tauros, that's pure fighting, but Scarlet has Blaze Breed, which is fighting fire, and Violet has Aqua Breed, which is water fighting. So, we're going to work on Blaze Breed today. I am hoping this is going to work. So you see I have the Everstone on it. I don't even know if you have to do that, but I'm hoping that makes sure that it keeps the Blaze Breed form. Otherwise, I'm going to have to pivot really quickly. I think it should. Man, I hope this works. Okay, let's go eat our sandwich and get going. But yeah, this should, if it does work, then awesome. If it doesn't work, I'm not really sure about shiny hunting these. In fact, I probably won't do these two for the time being. Because, like, even when I could tell, like, even when I had the shiny and the not shiny, like, right next to each other, I could not tell, like, very easily which one's the shiny or not. So, I'm not going to try and do that for these two, being that they are much more rare. There's definitely ways to get them to, you know, pop up a lot, but, like, even then you're still just going to be having, like, the one. Okay. And now we do the most entertaining bit of content to ever be published to Twitch or YouTube, where you stand here and don't do anything for 30 minutes. Fun times. The best part is I haven't tested this at all, so I don't know if this is gonna give me the Blaze Breeds. So I might wait all this 30 minutes and then not actually do the shiny hunt. I'll hatch them all anyways, I guess, because, you know, I'll want to make sure that there isn't another shiny in there. But yeah. So there's an update for Scarlet and Violet that just came out today. And it fixes a number of things. Nothing about the save glitch, although I didn't realize how incredibly, like, uncommon it is. It's something like a few dozen people have had it happen, which, you know, sucks, but out of 20 million players, that's not too bad. But we also, I mean, there could be a lot more just people who just went, oh, my save's corrupted, I guess I'll start over. But yeah, so nothing about that, but they did, the big thing is they fixed the glitch where some people, for whatever reason, when they tried to catch Walking Wake or Iron Leaves, they ended up with what's called a bad egg instead for some reason, which basically is just, you can't do anything with it. So they did fix that, and now actually, after this week's raids, which is Typhlosion, and then also Chansey is back this week, which is, I will be grinding that. But after this weekend, so next weekend, or I think, is it next weekend? I forget exactly what the dates are for when it starts, but they are rerunning those, the Iron Leaves and the Walking Wake raids. So if you missed those, this would be a great time to do them. Also, nothing talked about with that update is Pokemon Home. That isn't too surprising. Since the Pokemon Home update, they pretty much just need to... Oh, fuck. Yes. Hold on a second. I need to go fix this. Yep. Okay, that actually isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think we gotta go to box 17, right? Yeah. Well, I made that more of a pain in the ass than it needs to be. Whoopsies. I did this when I first started the normal Paldean Tauros hunt. Okay, we should be good now. Go back into the picnic. Okay. Alright, we're good. Screwed it up a little bit, but I think we'll be okay. We just missed out on probably like 3 or 4 eggs. But yeah, so now there were some little updates. There's some stuff to do with the Hisuian Zoro arc. There was an update that fixed something to do with the importing postcards from Pokemon Go. And we don't know if that's fixed the glitch. Because also, I mean, there's people who say that they got the glitch without the DLC. And without the, without having purchased the DLC and without ever using Pokemon Go. So we really don't know what the issue is. And that's, like, part of the thing, right? It's such a weird glitch. And, like, even people trying to recreate it can't do so. So it's just like, well... You know, again, that's part of the reason why I've just kind of said, screw it, I'm back into Scarlet. Because it's like, well, you know what. Anyways, there's, even though there's nothing about the Pokemon Home update, I mean, we wouldn't be hearing about that with this patch anyways. Because that's just that Pokemon Home needs to be updated. There's not really necessarily anything they have to do in the games. Because all that Pokemon Home does is it just reads the save file. And the, like, for most of the, like, the mainline games, at least, since Gen 3, the, like, data structure, for lack of a better term, it's probably not quite the right term, but it's, you get what I mean, the data structure for how the Pokemon are saved has not fundamentally changed. They've added stuff, like abilities were added after Gen 3, but overall, it's saved the same. I'm sure, like, some things about the save files have been changed, but anyways, but yeah, they just need to update Pokemon Home. We're kind of hoping maybe after the second run of these Paradox raids, but, you know, I was kind of hoping they would happen. Well, it could still happen after the Typhlosion raids this weekend. They could turn it on, like, next Tuesday or something. But we'll see. It is good they're rerunning the Paradox raids, or the Paradox Suicune and Virizion raids. So, Walking Wake, Iron Leaves, because, again, since there was that glitch where some people just, you know, through no fault of their own, their game was glitched and they couldn't actually get it. Although I think it had something to do with, like, trying to do those raids with the 1.1 update. Is like part of what caused that issue. I forget exactly what it was, but it, you know, it's good they fixed it. It's good they're rerunning it. There's some, like, idea that they might also start rerunning some of the older Mightiest Mark raids. I don't know. I feel like we're a little bit early in for that. I mean, it could, but I don't know. But, I mean, we got, you know, some of the fan favorite starters as Mightiest Marks, right? Charizard, Greninja, Cinderace. I think that was it for those. Then we had the Pikachu one. Actually, you know, that's just for Pokemon Day. And then we got the Hisuian starter Pokemon. So Typhlosion, Decidueye, Samurott, Typhlosion. That was the order they were in. So, like, who knows? They could start rerunning some of the earlier ones, like Charizard. I kind of hope they keep doing new ones, though. I mean, obviously, I'm going to hope for that, right? Because I already have the Mightiest Mark Charizard. But we'll see what happens. I'll be interested to see if say they rerun Charizard. I assume this won't be the case, but it'll be interesting if you could catch another. I assume it'll be like when, you know, they've done it in the with those original ones, actually, like the Charizard. It would be one weekend, and then we would have, like, just some random event raids the next weekend, and then the weekend after that, the Charizard would come back. So And with that, you know, you couldn't catch 2 of them in the 2 separate weekends. So I would assume just the game saves that you've caught like any Mightiest Mark Charizard, so you can't catch another. Though there is, you know, somewhere in the code, right? People found information for one of the Mega Evolutions for Charizard. So who knows if they like try and do that as a raid or something. I could see them absolutely being trolls and having like a Mega Charizard that you have to fight in a raid, but you can't catch it. Kind of like Zeraora. In I was trying to think of one in Sword and Shield for that event, where sometime around when Isle of Armor was released, shortly after or right at the release of it, I forget. They had event raids for Zeraora, which was a mythic, I believe, in Gen 7, either legendary or mythic. And so you couldn't actually catch those from the raid, but I believe it was over the period of the event, I forget how long it was, if the community defeated 1 million Zeraora, then everyone who participated in at least one raid was given a shiny Zeraora in Pokemon Home, which is awesome. I like stuff like that. You know, I like boosted shiny odd raids, which it sure feels like we ain't getting those back ever again. Which I hope we do, but man, does it feel like we're not going to. And then also, just, you know, stuff like that Zeraora. Just like getting a shiny through a distribution is not really that satisfying, you know? I mean, I will take it. I will take any shiny that is one I did not already have. I'll take any shiny, period. That's not true. I did leave Budu during Legends Arceus, but that was like my 6th one. I did not care at that point. Yeah, God, I would love to see the boosted shiny odd raids come back. Those were so nice. Just spend like a weekend doing as many raids as you can to try and get a shiny. And being that it's easier to do the date resetting or changing or however you want to call it in this game as opposed to Sword and Shield. Because Sword and Shield, you had to like basically trick the game into letting you do it. Like if you were in the map on Sword and Shield and then changed the date and then went back in, it wouldn't actually change the raids. So it didn't work. Basically what you had to do was, and you can do this, you know, offline, but you would go to the raid and then choose look for other players, which is what you would do if like you wanted to play with a friend or something, right, who was in the same room as you. But you would just do that, then hop out and go to the date and time change that, then hop back in, then leave the raid. And for some reason doing that would cause it to think that you had a... Oh, I didn't know that the horns lit up. That's cool. I assume the water one does the same. But yeah, anyways, then you kind of had to trick it. This game though, as long as you're in the map, might not even have to be in the map, but I feel like I've had it not work when I've not been in the map. But as long as you're there, you just go and change the date and it'll just give you new raids. I do also like so far that most of the events have only had 1 or maybe 2 Pokemon as part of the event. So like when it's well, at the highest level for the raid, that is. Because in Sword and Shield, like, you would have, you know, a whole list of Pokemon that could be potentially spawning there. And so even once you found the right den, you would have to do a bunch of resetting just to get it to spawn you the the Pokemon that you wanted. And then you would have to go in and check for if it's shiny or not. But yeah, we do have multiple event raids again this weekend. Because we have Typhlosion is back. I already got my one, so I don't really need to do more. But also the Blissey raids are back. Which reminds me, I need to build a Pokemon for that. That shouldn't be too bad. I'll probably do that on the same stream. Right now, my current schedule is going to be tonight's Shiny Hunt, tomorrow's Shiny Hunt. I forget if I have it set for Friday or Saturday is when I'm going to do Blissey raids. And then after that, more Shiny Hunting. So that's basically all we're doing right now. Like I said, I'm still on that hunt for affiliate. So I would like to not tank that by playing a game that no one on Twitch is actually watching. I think I'm at like 2.89 average viewers or something like that. I looked into it a little bit. If I hadn't streamed on Sunday, I might actually have hit affiliate. But the thing is, oh, nice. The thing is with how it shows on, like, it shows the number differently on different pages, which is kind of annoying. So on, like, the analytics page, I think, or on, like, one of those pages, it shows, you know, like 3.0, for instance, is what it was saying. But on other pages, it actually shows 2 digits after the decimal. So I suspect, and it rounds up. So I suspect that even if I hadn't streamed on Sunday, I would have, even though it would have said 3.0 average viewers on one page, it wouldn't have quite actually been high enough. But yeah, I would like to get it this week, because going into this week, basically, now it looks over like the past 30 days, right? And I had that week where I couldn't stream because I didn't have internet. So that's kind of like the streams that are falling off, or the lack of streams that are falling off, which doesn't necessarily help my numbers or anything, but pretty much my first stream after that was when I had that big raid by Dark Kiss Q, I believe. Thank you again for that. That was awesome. I appreciated that. So I had a really high average viewer number for that stream, which was awesome. So if that one falls off, my number's gonna fall way back down again. Oh, and I finally, because like over this week I've been thinking a little bit about you know, getting things set up better in terms of like having an Instagram account and, you know, stuff like that. I was gonna go through and do that. Trying to make my Instagram account, immediately suspended. Like, as in, I hit the final button for like creating it. It gave me like this error page for a second, and then when it refreshed, it said that I was suspended. Like permanently suspended. And all. I was like, what the fuck? I literally haven't done anything yet. What? And then I was like, yeah, you can appeal it. And I was like, okay, I'll do that, I guess. Actually, so that was the thing. The first time I tried to do it, I tried to do it on my computer and it gave me some stupid thing about, it wouldn't let me, like, confirm my email or something because my IP was, like, had some shit going on with it. I was like, okay, whatever the fuck. And then, so I think that's probably what happened, is it freaked out because then I went and did it from my phone. But, like, yeah, and I was going to do the appeal thing, and it kept on popping up with, like, more shit that it wanted that I had already given before. Like, what's your email? What's your phone number? What's, like... And there was something else that popped up. I was like, okay, I don't care enough about this shit. I'm not gonna... I have literally zero interest in actually using Instagram. I was primarily only doing it to, like, have the account so I can't, like, have someone else pretending to be me in the future. And then, yeah, so that happened. I was like, okay, I'm good. I don't care. I mean, I guess I would probably upload, like, highlights or something, but it's just that if they are so actively telling me to fuck off, okay, I'll take a hint. I don't mind not using a Facebook product anyways. Or sorry, Meta, or whatever their fucking stupid name is now. But yeah, I'll get some of the other stuff set up eventually. Maybe. It just depends on how lazy I'm feeling. Because again, like, I don't really care about using any social media. Because, I mean, like, Twitter is just a fucking toxic cesspool, right? And, I mean, yeah, it's just, I just don't have any interest in it, you know? It would only basically be a thing for me, another place for me to upload stuff, and a way to, like, you know, tell people, hey, I'm going live, or stuff like that. But, oh well. Such thrilling content here. God, I do really wish there was a better way to handle this, you know, the collecting the eggs. Like, this wouldn't even be so bad, but the risk of one of the Pokemon getting too close and, like, interfering with you means that you can't really automate it. You can. Like, the switch up thing, they did put out an update for it that lets you, that, you know, it'll automate it for you. But again, you have to, like, kind of pay attention to it, because otherwise you, like, miss out on Pokemon. And I don't even really want to do that until Pokemon Home is updated now, because then I can easily release Pokemon. Unlike, you know, like today, or tonight before the stream actually, I had to release all the Tauros that I still had from the last hunt, because even though, you know, if I don't get the shiny, I reset, but if I do get the shiny, then I'm stuck with all this Pokemon. Which, you know, might be a good problem to have, but you don't really want to be dealing with that too often. Oh boy, Tauros is going crazy again. Could you imagine being a Pokemon though, right? And, you know, your trainer sets up this picnic and just stands here and stares at a basket for half an hour. Like, you know, some Pokemon maybe wouldn't notice or care at all ever, right? But then, like, something like Alakazam, for instance, would be like, what the fuck is this thing doing? Right? Because, like, you know, some Pokemon would be smart enough to, like, just be completely confused as to what the hell is going on. Because it's not like, you know, I'm running around or anything. I'm literally just standing here facing into this corner, so that way, like, hopefully the other two Pokemon don't interfere. Let me check this. I don't remember if I... Okay, I didn't. Or I did. I try to check it every 2 minutes. That way we're not, like... I assume when you're in one of those text boxes that it's not generating eggs. I have no way of knowing that, though. But I try not to check too often. So that way we're not doing, we're not interfering with it. But also, if you wait too long, then you, the basket literally fills up, and then it doesn't generate anymore. I believe it's a cap of 10 eggs that it can have at one time. And they're both sleeping again. Alright, eventually we will have all of these. We're at 26 minutes right now, so we only got, I think, 3 more checks to go. 6 more minutes. I feel like we're not going to get many eggs out of this one. I have a feeling. It seems like I've had a bunch of not big collections so far. But who knows? Maybe we get super lucky tonight, and I get the shiny really quick. We'll see. I plan on going for like, 3-ish hours tonight. I've been trying to be better about like going the 3 hours at least. I think the last stream was actually 4 hours. I'm glad I did it though. We got the shiny at the end. But yeah, so if we get this quick, we'll just switch right over into Aqua Breed. I will have to trade for one, but I mean, that's fine. I just have to look up what the dex number is for Tauros. Because that's what the trade codes are, the like community ones. Like for, trading the version exclusive Pokemon, stuff like that. Is you just enter the dex number, like the in-game, the Paldea dex number, not the national dex number for the Pokemon. And yeah, and then you just hope that the other person has the one that you're looking for. And then you have the one that they're looking for. Because especially if you play Violet, you're going to get a lot of other Violet players who, have the same Pokemon as you and they're trying to get the Scarlet exclusive. But since I have Scarlet, that isn't so much of an issue. I imagine it's not so much of an issue anymore anyways. Like I imagine with people doing breeding and stuff, some of them are going to still be a pain in the ass, but a lot of them are going to be, people might be trying to get, I don't know if they'd be doing it that way. I don't know. Maybe it is still a complete pain in the ass. Because I was thinking like, oh yeah, people might be trying to get rid of rejects or something, but if, why would you need to go back to the trade code to do that? You're just going to surprise trade those or release them or something. I still need to release, or not release, but trade those Dittos from the event. Outside of the, I think I got a perfect one? I don't remember if I got a perfect or not. Although I also don't really care. Because I have my, oh, I should probably check that, actually. I'll check it out. I'm pretty sure. I was just thinking about the fact that I didn't check to see if my Breed Tauros here is not in Japanese. Because I have a Japanese Ditto, right? But I forgot to check the Tauros. But yeah, it's like I have my Japanese Ditto already. Once Pokemon Home is updated, I can bring over my 6 IV Japanese Ditto. And even if I really cared at all about stats on the Pokemon that I'm breeding, like, shininess is still going to take priority, so. But alright, we got one more check coming up here, and we got one more after that, and we are all set. We can start actually hatching. See if we can get some crazy luck going tonight. Can you imagine if it was, like, the first egg? It would actually be almost annoying if it was the first egg. I guess for the last set that I did in for the regular Paldean Tauros, I got it in the first set of eggs. But like that was like the very first ones back. Really? I just stood there for 30 minutes when it was literally in the first egg. God damn it. But we'll see. I mean, the odds of that happening are, well, they're 1 in 512, I guess, which is not very good. What is that, 0.2%? And also, let's be honest, it wouldn't actually be that annoying because I got the shiny, so who cares? Alrighty, 1 more minute. So tonight I'm doing the, as always, I'm doing the stream beats by Harris Heller for my music. We got the house playlist going. So it's not too wubby, but you know, it's got a little bit of energy to it, unlike the like lo-fi or stuff like that. Granted, sometimes, I mean, a lot of times I feel like the lo-fi stuff is works really well for this because I mean this is just a chill and laid back thing. We don't need anything too crazy for music, but also for something like this, it's kind of nice to have the bouncier music, so that way you're not completely bored out of your mind. Hey, what's up, games? Sorry. It's gonna be one of those kinds of days. What's up, Baines? Welcome back, man. Glad to see ya. Okay. All good there. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Screwed up your name. Alright. Grab these. And away we go. So we're gonna find out with this first egg if this actually works for getting the Blaze Breed. Because if it doesn't work, and it just gives me like the regular Paldean Tauros, then I'm probably gonna have to pivot to starters, to be honest. Because like seeing the other Tauros was already bad enough, and Blaze and Aqua Breed they don't spawn a whole lot. They always spawn in pack spawns, and it'll always only ever be one. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. Does this work? I also have no idea, even if this does work, if you actually need the Everstone for it. Okay, well it is Blaze Breed, so that's good. So we're all set there. Oh, I'm so glad that worked. That would have really sucked to wait for 30 minutes to not even get the right Pokemon. I really should have tested it off stream to make sure, but you know, that requires me not being stupid. I think we've had that conversation before. Alright. Go. So same as with as you can see in the bottom left corner there, or below my my cam and all that, the Blaze Breed and the Aqua Breed Tauros are the same as regular Paldean Tauros, and that it the only difference with the shiny is instead of having the like kind of more grayish head and body, it has the darker head and body, and then a lighter mane. It's no luck on the first set, but you know, again, it's shiny hunting. It's 1 in 512 odds. Would have been kind of funny though if I had gotten it on the basically the exact same egg as the last set that I did, because I believe it was the, maybe not. Oh, you know what? No, you're right. It wasn't the 5th egg of the last set that I did for the regular Paldea form. I think it was the 3rd or the 4th, but then because it was in my party and I moved it out, it shifted the other eggs. I'm thinking just something that just popped in my head. So I might actually try and make a YouTube exclusive video. So not a stream. For when Walking Wake and Iron Leaves come back next week or whenever it is. Just put out a video for it. Just saying, hey, here's the Pokemon I used to beat them. Just have it be like a, you know, not even 10-minute video. I don't know, is it still a thing with YouTube where, like, you want to make your videos, like, at least 10 minutes? Because that always seems to, it, like, gets you higher priority in the algorithm or whatever. That used to be a thing for a while. I don't know, maybe not, because, I mean, they had to change, like, a year or so now. A year ago. Or so, where it seems like they're actually doing a better job of what word do I want to use for it? Promoting, I guess, smaller channels. Because I didn't notice, like, one day, just all of a sudden, I started actually getting, like, more than, like, 2 or 3 views on my YouTube videos. I've noticed since then, in the recommended videos in the right bar, when you're watching something, usually that, like, 3rd or 4th video is someone who, you know, it's only has, like, 20-something views or something like that, and it's just some smaller creator. One of the rare, like, good changes that YouTube has done. Though, oddly enough, so, I try and do YouTube shorts for all my shinies, right? Anytime I get them, that's like how I post the highlight for it. The one I did for Iron Hands literally did not get viewed. Like, once. The only view on it is, I believe, my own view. Or it got viewed exactly one time. Because sometimes when I, like, watch it just to double check it, make sure, like, it, you know, looks correct and everything, it sometimes, or a lot of times actually, it doesn't actually count my own view. But yeah, like, usually the shorts get, like, hundreds of views. Just because, you know, it's so easy to go through those so fast. I assume it's just easier for people to end up finding those. And just, like, you know, they'll watch the 30 seconds of it or whatever. 30 seconds to a minute. And they'll, you know, I don't know. It's just, I feel like, also because you don't really necessarily click on the shorts, right? You just scroll and it'll pop up more for you. But yeah, so usually they get, you know, 100 or more views. Sometimes they do really well and they get like 1,000 views. This one got exactly 1 view. There's nothing different about it other than the fact that it's Iron Hands instead of a different Pokemon. What's this about your shorts? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. That was very weird. And I did, I had forgotten to upload a thumbnail for the first of the Paldea and Tauros hunts. I did actually, like, do that tonight. And I got it uploaded for the part 2 of that hunt as well. I try to space it out so that way, especially when I'm, like, super backed up with YouTube shorts, that I'll post, like, a VOD in between each short. So, like, tomorrow, the short for one of them, I think Iron Jugulus, comes out tomorrow. And then the day after that will be part 2 of Paldea and Tauros, and then another short, and then this VOD will come out, and then just try and do it like that. Because I know some people hate the shorts. I'm not, like, the biggest fan of them either. My biggest thing that I don't like about them is just that it's the vertical aspect ratio, which, like, you know, if I'm watching on my computer, which is where I do 99.9% of my watching video, then it's like, okay, well, there's like a whole bunch of wasted screen space here. But I mean, they do pretty well. I didn't want to do them for a long time because it's like, yeah, I don't like shorts. I don't use TikTok or anything. That's just not content that I particularly care about. But boy, do you get a lot of views. Well, except for again when I guess they literally don't show a single person in the video. Thanks, YouTube. It depends on the shorts. Yeah, I mean, like I've started watching some. It's fine. Again, I don't like the vertical layout just because it doesn't work for for a computer, but obviously that's not like the target audience. The audience is people just scrolling on their phone. But yeah, I put it off for a long time because I was like, yeah, I'll just do my highlight videos. It's fine. And also a lot of times those, because I wouldn't want to like edit them too much, they would end up over a minute anyways. But yeah, first time I did like a YouTube short, I uploaded it and it got like a bunch of views immediately. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should be doing this. Just have the, I guess we'll call it a watermark on the bottom with the Twitch, yeah, with my Twitch account, and then, or my Twitch channel, that's the term I was looking for. And hope that people, hop over from that. I think I have actually gotten a couple of people to come over from YouTube. That being said, I don't think anyone have actually like watched at any point, but hey, they followed. That's something. Followers is a metric that can decide if you can get affiliate or not. But it's like followers and subscribers on YouTube aren't like really useful numbers, because it doesn't matter how many followers you have or subscribers if they don't actually like watch at all. Oh wow, because we're in a weird spot, it didn't actually put the egg into the world for this one. I'm gonna be honest, I prefer this screen though over them hatching in the world. I like the classic hatching screen. I don't know. Definitely helps to make sure that the Pokemon pops a little bit, you know. Is that another? No, I think I still have one more. Did that thing say that the horns get over 1800 Fahrenheit? Jesus Christ. I know it's a fire type, but still, that's like ridiculous. Then again, these are written by children. The Pokédex entries are written by children. That's why you have like, is it Slugma or there's some Pokemon where it's like, yeah, it's hotter than the surface of the sun. And it's like, no, that would instantly light the entire fucking atmosphere on fire. What? So I was talking to another Poketuber about this. Do you release your Mon after hatching? Typically. I assume you mean just like all the Pokemon that aren't the shiny. Because yeah, usually I release those, or like I'm doing here. Since we don't have any way to do mass releasing, I just reset. So that way they basically never existed. once I get this shiny, I do definitely want to keep at least one. Just so that way I can trade it for the aqua form, because I don't actually have one of those on this save. In fact, I don't even think I have one of those in my Violet save, because I just never bothered to go get one. But yeah, I am a little bit weird about when it's a Pokemon that was traded to me. Like, even as, like, a surprise trade or something. I'm a little bit weird about, like, not wanting to release those sometimes. Because it's like, oh, you know, like, my Pokemon, I don't give a shit. But, like, even though they have no way of knowing if the Pokemon got released, it just feels kind of weird sometimes. I've, like, it, you know, 99.999% I don't give a shit. Even in that situation. It's just that little tiny thing of like, oh. But also part of that was, there used to be the lottery mechanic. Where you would go, yeah, I think it was introduced in Gen 2, maybe? Might have been even Gen 1. I know for sure Gen 2. Where you would go and talk to, like, the person at the radio tower. And, or, you know, wherever it was in the games. In Sword and Shield, it was the Rotomi terminal, right? But there would be a thing to, like, it would check the trainer IDs for all your Pokemon. And if one of them matched with the lottery number, like, matched perfectly, then you would get a free Master Ball. And, you know, if it was, like, 4 digits matched, then you get something else, or 5, or whatever. Or, you know what I mean. You would get smaller rewards for having less numbers match. So, like, it was actually really beneficial to have a whole bunch of traded Pokemon in Sword and Shield, because you could go check that and you could, like, try to get, you know, whatever the items were. Like, one of the biggest things was PP ups and PP maxes. Those, like, because those were just so difficult to get a hold of. In fact, I don't know if there's anywhere you could just buy them. I think you can just buy them in this game, and also, I mean, you can get a whole bunch, because... let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's not the max, but, I mean, it is... I have so many that I don't really... You don't really need the max versions. Other than maybe something like, some of those moves where it has, like, 30 or 40 uses already. Even though you don't really need to use those items on those kinds of moves, but you know. Anyways, we're almost through a box here. I did grab a... Yeah, I did. I was just about to check to make sure that I actually grabbed eggs. Imagine the Pokemon population increasing because you're releasing. Wasn't that a thing that someone posted on Reddit they did, like back in Gen 1. Or no, sorry, it would not have been in Gen 1. It would have been like Gen 2, because Gen 1 didn't have breeding. But because the Pokedex entries said that that Lapras was like endangered or something, they like bred the hell out of it and released a whole, you know, we just released them. Because, you know, it's just when they were like a little kid. And it's like, oh, that's adorable. And then actually in later games, it's like, not only are they kind of easier to find now in the later games, but also like, it's even mentioned in Dex entries that their population is actually recovered. In fact, is even like, I think one of them mentions they've kind of turned into a problem. Mind you, those, the, you know, changed Dex entries has nothing to do with like, you know, the person's one post. They didn't have any way of knowing about that, but it's still just like a funny thing. It's like, oh, wait a second. But yeah, if breeding a Pokemon like could cause the population to change and like would change how likely they are to show up. Oh, yeah. The fucking Dreepy would have been the only thing that would have spawned anywhere in Sword and Shield after like the first 2 weeks. Because people really wanted that shiny Dreepy. Mostly, one, it was a decent shiny, but also it was a pretty good competitive Pokemon. And being like, you know, good competitive, good shiny, and also, you know, it's the pseudo-legendary. Oh, okay. Wow, we didn't even get 60 out of this one. Huh. But yeah, also a pseudo-legendary from Gen 8. And it's just like, yeah. There was a period of time with Sword and Shield where just if you did surprise trades, everything was either Dreepy or like hacked Pokemon. Fun times. It's part of why I want to surprise trade away those Dittos. I just want to see if there's a bunch of hacked garbage floating around again. I believe Jed, or maybe someone else mentioned that was the case again, which isn't surprising. But the biggest thing with that is they typically have a like a Master Ball on them or something. So you just take the Master Ball and then you release the Pokemon. They say they're hacked Pokemon. They're generated Pokemon, right? So the stats are possible, but like, you know, typically people aren't trading around 6 IV shiny Pokemon. Tends not to happen. Especially when they're named Machamps.com and shit like that. So it's yeah. Because basically what they're doing is they're advertising their service. So that's why they name it like the name of their website. Because they want people to go and like actually pay to get like Pokemon generated. And of course, at that point, if you're paying for it, then they're not going to have the, you know, they'll name it wherever the hell you want it to be. But yeah, in theory, you're not supposed to ever get banned if you, like, get traded a Pokemon like that. Because, like, you know, a 5-year-old kid ain't gonna fucking have any idea, right? And I'm sure Game Freak and Nintendo want nothing to do with the headache of little kids getting banned and then the parents getting upset about, like, how would they know? Because, I mean, to be fair, how would they know? So as long as it has legitimate stats, they're usually fine, but also it's probably best just to get rid of those. Not risk it. And if it doesn't have legit stats, in theory, it's not supposed to be able to be traded. Because the game does check, like, stats and moves and stuff like that. So that if it isn't, like, legal, in theory, it's not supposed to let you trade them. At least through something like surprise trade. I don't know if you can do it, like, in... I think you can do it, like, just in a normal, like, link code trade or whatever. Because I know people have been doing that for breeding, like, some of the Pokemon that are in the game. Oh, right. I was wondering why that just popped up now when it's 12:15, but right, because my data's messed up. Because I haven't fixed that. But yeah, like, I think... I remember seeing on one of the Pokemon subreddits, someone was working on breeding for a shiny Scorbunny or something like that before the Cinderace event had happened, so there was no way to get one of those legit. But because all the information for the Pokemon was already in the game, there's actually a bunch of Pokemon that are like that already. Where it's you know, the information is in the game, just they haven't been made available in any way. But that's actually why with Charizard, the first, like, day after Charizard came out, despite the fact that it was now a legit Pokemon, you couldn't trade it, because I guess, like, the servers or whatever were, like, trying to check for, you know, make sure that people weren't trading a legitimate Pokemon. But then it saw that and went, wait a second, this isn't right. This isn't supposed to be in the game. But they fixed it after like a day. I thought it might have happened in for some of the other ones, but I think someone said that it was only like the very first, only for the Charizards. Hasn't been an issue since then. So pretty much as soon as the raid is out, if you breed it, you can trade it, which is good. I mean, you know, it probably shouldn't have happened in the first place, but like that's a very minor issue where it's like, oh, that makes sense how that got screwed up. Which, unfortunately, you can't really say the same for a lot of the nonsense that Game Freak does. But as much as I hate it, they still haven't really properly said anything about the save glitch. Where your save just gets corrupted, basically. I did figure out today that, one, again, it's even more rare than I thought. Like, likely, you know, a few dozen to maybe a couple hundred people out of 20 million players. Although, who knows. I think that 20 million number is exaggerating. Not because there haven't been 20 million sales. Well, actually, that's part of it, right? A lot of those sales are people like me that bought 2 copies. And, you know, how many of those are people who played for like the first month and then haven't picked up the game yet, or haven't picked it up again? Stuff like that. But nonetheless, it's a rare issue, and despite the best attempts of like multiple people, no one can actually reproduce the bug. Like, obviously it's happening, but we cannot in any way figure out what the hell is causing it. And so it is kind of that thing where, as much as I don't like Game Freak not talking about it, you can't fix something if you can't figure out what's even happening. And on top of that, I did find out that actually, if you have that issue happen, you can contact either like Pokemon support or Nintendo support or someone. I forget exactly who it was you need to reach out to. I wish I would have remembered that. But you can actually basically, eventually when they get back to you, you send them your save and they will actually fix it. Been meaning to ask, what's that downloadable content? So there's 2 DLC that will be coming in the future for Scarlet and Violet. Kind of like with Sword and Shield. Just 2 additional zones with small stories attached to them, stuff like that. Adds a bunch more Pokemon back into the game. And are you able to pre-order it? Yeah, so that's why it's actually there. It's to try and get you to pre-order them. And I forget what all the bonuses are. I mean, the main thing is that your money's locked in, right? So they love it when you do that. But I believe you get a Hisuian Zoroark, and there's some other stuff as well. Shiny? If you mean the Hisuian Zoroark, no, it's not a guaranteed shiny. You can breed it to get a shiny, but it's just a regular one. Rep, yeah. Well, I mean, if you play Legends Arceus, you can very easily get shiny Hisuian Zoroark. The shiny odds in that game are... Well, actually, I guess it's not as easy as it used to be. But still worth it. Yeah, I mean, like, right now, it's the only way to get, you know, the Hisuian form of Zoroark in this game. At least until Pokemon Home updates. That said, I haven't bought it yet. Mostly because I see no reason to pre-order it right now. I mean, again, it's a Hisuian Zoroark. Also, you don't even have to... Like, you don't have to pre-order it right away. I think you can still get these, the bonuses up until, like, the end of October. So kind of like with the games. Typically with the games, there's a reorder bonus, but it goes until, like, January. So it's more like an early purchaser bonus. That's one of the few things that I really appreciate that, well, I shouldn't say few things, but I mean, it's one of those things that Game Freak does differently that from a lot of companies that I do actually really appreciate. Because you can actually decide if you want to buy the game before giving them your money, right? The game is out, so you can watch reviews and gameplay of it. And you're not going to miss out on the pre-order content. There might sometimes be some things that you're missing, but it's never any, like, you know, nothing substantial. If anything, it's stuff like bonus items, right? Like, if you pre-order, you get, like, 100 Pokeballs or whatever. Which, funnily enough, I actually never redeemed the, when I pre-ordered the double, or did I pre-order? I forget. I got the double pack for this game. But yeah, when I did that, I got the codes for, you get, like, healing items and stuff like that. And then, also you got, like, a bunch of, Pokeballs. But I never actually redeemed the codes for my, Violet copy because, you know, I didn't start that playthrough right away. And by the time I did, I, like, just didn't care. And it may have actually expired by then as well. You do want to buy all the Pokemon possible for the Switch. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm probably going to do that. The thing with the DLC, especially for me, is, again, one I have plenty of time to pre-order it. But also, it's for, you have to buy it separately for each version of the game. So you have to buy it for Scarlet and for Violet. But right now, if it's set up the same as it was in Sword and Shield, I actually won't need to buy both copies, or buy it for both versions of the game. Well, maybe, actually. I guess Vial of Armor, you didn't have to, because you could choose what form of Urshifu you got, rather than it being a version exclusive. You could only get one of them, so you would have to do another playthrough, but that's fine. I'm probably going to have to do another playthrough of Scarlet anyways, because of losing the Koraidon that you can actually put into the box, not just the one that you ride. But in Crown Tundra and the Dynamax Adventures, there was some of the legendaries were exclusive. Like Kyogre was exclusive to, I think, Shield, and then Groudon was Sword. So if I want to shiny hunt those, that's kind of a problem. But like for the vast majority of stuff, you know, I can just move it over with Pokemon Home. And if it's going to be the same as Sword and Shield, they don't really introduce new Pokemon. It'll be like a legendary or two, and then per DLC. And then, yeah, it's just returning Pokemon. Which I feel like is fine. I mean, it's not... Ideally, yeah, we wouldn't want that, but... I don't know. Like, I guess it would be cool if they would introduce, like, a couple of new Pokemon per DLC. Again, for just like regular Pokemon, not including legendaries, but it's not a big deal. It does feel a little bit scummy to like release the game and then you have to pay $30 to get Pokemon that already exist back, you know. It feels a little bit weird, but also like, I don't know. I just feel like of all the things that are like not great about how Game Freak does stuff, that's a minor issue. Now, if it was like there wasn't an extra zone or anything, it was just like, yeah, pay $10 to unlock Gen 8 Pokemon, like unlock all the Pokemon that are missing for Gen 8, that would be really bad. What happened to the good old days of new Pokemon per gen? I mean, you get plenty of new Pokemon per gen. It's just that they're all in the game itself and not like through the DLC. Because let's be honest, if they were releasing the Pokemon through DLC, or if Pokemon get added in DLC, the Pokemon existed before the game came out. They just decided to pull it out to to sell it. And to be fair, this game, or this generation, was pretty good about adding a good number of Pokemon. I think it added over 100 Pokemon, which it's been a little while since we've had that. You mean Sword and Shield style? Yeah, that, I guess it's only been one game that we've had that we've done that. So with Cub Fu, yeah, it's, I mean, I'm kind of, I don't know. I'm a little bit more okay with it with like the legendaries, because like the story is kind of, with both Isle of Armor and Crown Tundra, the legendaries that were added with those DLC, the story was about those legendaries, so like, you know, it makes sense. But yeah, like I absolutely don't doubt that Cub Fu at some point was like intended for Sword and Shield, and then they held it back so they could put it in Isle of Armor. I mean, that's true of every DLC for pretty much every game. There's at least, like, you know, an idea in place for the DLC content, right? They aren't like releasing the game and then afterwards going, okay, now what? Like, they have some idea what they're doing. Like, I remember back with Borderlands 2, there was kind of a bit of stuff with the first DLC character. They had actually announced the character before the game had actually come out, but they did like outright say, it's like, listen, we have the concept in place, no actual development has happened with this character yet. It's just, you know, the designers need something to do because most of their work's already done, basically. Which makes sense. Yeah, just haven't flushed it out fully. Yeah. Which, I mean, again, it's fine as long as it isn't like really blatantly bad, or really obvious that it was just cut content to sell later. Like Mass Effect 3 did that with the fucking the From Ashes DLC. That was it was a pre-order bonus for the digital deluxe edition. Or you could just buy it, which I didn't buy the digital deluxe edition, so I had to spend like the 10 or 15, I think it was just $10 on it. But it also introduces what is lore-wise probably the single most important character in the entire fucking franchise. It's like, okay, thanks guys. I'm so glad we had to pay extra to fucking get such an important character. Fucking Mass Effect 3, man. So much good stuff in it. But man, some mind-bogglingly... Well, I was going to say bad decisions. It was a great decision for EA, which I imagine was a lot of the reason why stuff like the From Ashes DLC happened. But then also you have like the ending disaster, which is just like, cool. Thanks for like having just a horrible way to end this multi-year franchise. It's just like one of the worst video game endings ever. It's just so bad. They made it better with DLC, which was free DLC, because I guess somehow they didn't realize people were going to be pissed off that this franchise that's entirely centered around, you know, decisions. Oh, right, we're done. Okay. Double check, make sure that I haven't like missed over the shiny. But yeah, like everything about Mass Effect is like, you know, your decisions matter. You're like shaping how things are going to happen and whatnot. And then you get to the ending and it's just like, yeah, so actually just pick which color explosion you want. And there's like no like epilogue, no nothing. It's just like, yep, get fucked. Again, like they added like an epilogue to it basically, which mostly was just like a slideshow of what happens after the final decision. But like, I mean, you know, at least it was something. And it does show, you know, just a little bit about what you know, some of the things that happen, right? So it's just like good. I mean, thank you for doing that after, but also it still wasn't great, and it still basically throws away all the decisions. Basically, just all your decisions just turn into a number, and you just need to have a high number. It doesn't actually matter what the decisions were, just have a high number. It's like, that does not feel good. Okay, go to the correct box the first time here. Again, I'm pretty sure just like going to this box marks it as like the current box. But I like moving the Pokemon in and out just to like make sure that it's locked in. I still need to go and play through all of Mass Effect again with the Legendary Edition. I did one playthrough of Mass Effect 1, which was a ton of fun. Definitely Legendary Edition is the way to go. The only thing that sucks is it doesn't have the Bring Down the Sky DLC, which they say is because it got corrupted. Like, that's why it wasn't added with the PS3 version when that eventually came out. And then, you know, since then, like, for the remaster, it didn't get added. But I don't actually believe that it got corrupted. I think it was going to be more work to do whatever they needed to than Bring Down the Sky was worth to the story, which might be fair, but also fuck. Because you can't tell me that, like, nowhere does EA, BioWare, Microsoft was, you know, a co-publisher for the original Mass Effect 1. Can't tell me that none of them, between any of their backups that they're going to have, don't have the original files. And even if they did, you could reverse engineer it, you know. It's just they, I don't know. Again, ultimately, Bring Down the Sky doesn't actually matter at all to Mass Effect, but it's still, like, still sucks that, like, we have this complete edition, basically, that isn't complete. And I did enjoy playing through Bring Down the Sky. Or, sorry. Not Bring Down the Sky. Bring Down the Sky is the one that is in, because it actually has story content. Is Pinnacle Station is the one that is, like, doesn't actually add anything to the story. Me paraphrasing everything you're saying. Buy Pokemon, just shut up and buy Pokemon. That's what Game Freak would like people to do. Don't address any of the issues with the game, just buy our product. And to be fair, they sold 20 million copies, so, you know, they're doing pretty damn good at that. Alright, let's check out the first set here. But yeah, I did the one playthrough of Mass Effect 1 so far, and I want to, like, because you kind of have to do multiple playthroughs of the first one. I think I could, I forget if I didn't hit max level or not, but there was one decision where I played the story missions out of order for how I wanted to do them, which caused me to not have a high enough charm score, so I actually couldn't make one of the decisions I wanted to make. So I'm gonna have to play through it all again, because I want to do a full playthrough of, like, all Mass Effect 1, 100% complete, or reasonably so. All, like, story content complete, and all, like, side missions and shit. Max level, etc. And then import that to 2, and then do a 100% playthrough of that, again, within reason. And then import that save to 3, and then play it through that way. That way I can have, like, the full completed storyline. But, like, have it done in Legendary Edition. It's all my fault. Stop endorsing Game Freak. Yeah. I mean, literally, I'm one of the problem children, right? Being that I bought both copies of the game. But, I don't know. At the same time, I bought 2 out of 20 million copies, so, like, it's clearly not just my fault. And I really like shiny hunting, so, you know. I know there's the other games, you know, the Pokemon clones surely have their, like, own shiny mechanics, but, well, it's in, you know, I already have my shiny Pokemon, so I don't want to start some other franchise. And realistically, no one else is going to be watching those other franchises on Twitch. Get why you did that, but was it really necessarily? I could have had someone trade them to me, yeah. I just don't really trust trading online that much. Like, my assumption is if I go and like find someone online to trade with, I'll never really know if that Pokemon was legit or not. Which is, you know, same thing can be said for, you know, trading with random people in chat or whatever. But the thing is with that, it's, I feel like there's more likely that someone will be trading or trying to like create a Pokemon to trade so they can get a legitimate shiny. Like, and you asked what I mean legit. I mean like was actually obtained in game and wasn't just generated. So it wasn't hacked in or anything like that. I don't know. I just feel like random people in chat, it's like, if it's not someone that I'm actively seeking out to try and trade with, then I feel like it's less likely that they'll have it set up just for trying to trade to get, you know, the legit one. Doesn't mean I can't get a, like, illegitimate shiny, but I don't know. But yeah, like, the stats will always be, you know, theoretically possible, right? Again, typically the game does a decent job of like checking to make sure that everything's legal. But you know, within those legal stats, I just don't have a way of knowing. And granted, you know, at that point it's like, well, I did get a legitimate shiny, right? If I trade a second shiny Slitherwing for a shiny Iron Moth, right? I did get 2 legitimate shinies, and so I guess whether or not the Iron Moth is actually legit, I got 2 legitimate shinies. So for me, I'm mostly satisfied with that. But I don't know. Realistically, it's a thing of like, well, it kind of goes back into how much I play Pokemon. Realistically, you know, spending another $60 for how much time I spend in this franchise, it doesn't hurt to spend that money. It doesn't help, but it doesn't, you know, it's not hurting me. And it's not like I'm spending $60 to play the game for 20 minutes, right? Even just playing through Violet after doing my Scarlet playthrough was still, you know, probably at least a 10-hour playthrough. And, you know, video games have always been, and likely always will be, for the vast majority of them, easily one of the best value for you know, entertainment, right? Like, you go to the movies and you spend $15 on a movie ticket. That's you know, you're there for, if it's a long movie, it's 3 hours. Whereas typically even a shortish kind of game at $60 is still gonna be like 12 hours or at least 10 hours, right? Even if just the story is only gonna get you maybe 6 hours, like in a Call of Duty or something, there's usually other stuff to justify the cost. So more than 60 these days because of DLC. But again, it's like just the base game by itself, typically it's gonna, you know, it's still gonna be a better value. Now, it also depends on the actual quality of the game, but I mean, that, you know, at that point you're just like arguing which is better, I guess. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, Avengers Endgame may be better than, like, Call of Duty, right, in terms of content, but also, like, you can just easily compare, like, Final Fantasy VII to the Suicide Squad, right? Like, stuff like that. But typically, a good game, you're going to get a lot more hours out of than a good movie. Plus, in my opinion, just having the player actively involved and having player agency just makes it more entertaining by itself. You have more active care about what's happening in the story because you're actively involved in it. Even if it's a game that's like the Telltale games, where it's basically on rails and like, yeah, there's conversations and decisions, but you kind of get you kind of get clamped down into just like a couple little paths there, right? That's fair. I've plugged years away into Warframe. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That's like, I didn't necessarily have to buy both copies of the game, but with how I am with this franchise, it's fine. You know, I don't, unless you're like super hardcore about shiny hunting and always having like your trainer ID, maybe don't buy both copies of the game. Don't be like me. But also I'm stream, right? So it's a little bit easier for me to justify making purchases when it's like, well, I'm going to spend 60 hours playing this on stream probably, so, it's... Anyways, I don't know. It's definitely not a good financial decision, but, like, I'm desperately trying to rationalize this. Don't do it. Don't buy both copies of the game. It's not worth it. Not when you can just trade for Pokemon. Do what I say, not what I do. Do want my trainer ID on the mod. That's why I only trade it while it's still... Oh, that's an interesting idea. Go and hatch eggs, and when you find the egg that's the shiny, you could trade it over before, and then they could hatch it. That would actually... Would that work? Yeah. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Huh. That's actually a really good idea. But that doesn't help with the paradox forms because you can't breed those, which is the whole problem to begin with those. That's smart, though. That's really smart. I had never thought of doing that. But yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the paradox Pokemon, I wouldn't have bought both copies of the game. It was just because I can't... Like, I don't mind, even if it's for a hacked Pokemon, if I'm going to breed it and get a, to get a shiny, I don't give a shit if it's hacked. If anything, it just makes it a little bit easier, right? Because it's going to have better stats, most likely. And, like, I'm sure there's some purist people that are like, no, you absolutely can't use a hacked Pokemon even for breeding, because that means that you didn't legitimately... Who gives a fuck, dude? Even if you want to be that insane about it, spoiler alert, 90% of the people doing VGC, they are doing at least that much. And probably, I mean, especially for just like online stuff, not the in-person stuff, I bet you a good number of them are just like straight up generating the Pokemon. Because I mean, if that, if you're just like trying to be competitive, like, especially with how often like metas kind of shift over time and stuff, you can't be spending that time to go and constantly be getting new Pokemon and training them up. As much as they've made it way easier, it's still like a pain in the ass. Brings us back to other forms of breeding like land cloning. Yeah, definitely would like to see something like that in the future. I mean, that could happen with a DLC. We don't know. I doubt it, but... I just wish they would just let you breed anything. Like, who cares? Except for legendaries. I'm fine with legendaries not being bred, but like, if it's not a legendary, have at it. And, even make it a thing that it's like, okay, well, you know, the Paradox Pokemon, because they're all kind of screwy, can only breed with Ditto or something like that. Also surprised you don't have the Pokemon community game extension going on your stream. I haven't messed with extensions at all on Twitch. I probably should look into some of that stuff, but I've just never cared about it. I've been like someone who watches a lot of Twitch since, or at least one specific streamer. I've only recently kind of, like in the last year, kind of started watching other streamers too. But I've just like, back in the days where like it was just the streamer and that was basically it, you know, there wasn't like a whole bunch of, there wasn't like channel points, there wasn't even bits yet, you know. So you know, you had alerts and stuff for subscriptions and whatnot, but it was just a very, for lack of a better term, simpler experience. And so I've always been kind of like not wanting to letter stuff, because I mean, you used to have it where like every streamer would have like their layout where like on the stream, like they would have their webcam and they would have the game, but there would be like a frame around all of that stuff, right? And would have some cool design or whatever. And you still see a lot of that, but like people kind of figured out at a certain point that like a lot of that stuff people don't give a shit about. They just want to watch you play the game. Like, you need your face cam there, right? Because that's part of it, right? The reactions and stuff. Again, this is before like VTubing was a thing at all. And then yeah, I don't know. There's also, I mean, I know again this is something that a lot of streamers do, which is something that I never actually liked, was which is funny because I'm kind of doing the same thing, but it's a little bit different. I'll explain. Having like the face cam, but you use a green screen, so it's just you and you don't actually have a frame there. I've never actually liked that for most streamers, because part of it is most of them, it boxes them into only being on the bottom edge of the screen, but then a lot of times you're like just kind of, you end up blocking on-screen stuff because you can't like move yourself into the top left corner or anything. But also, I don't know, I've always kind of preferred having the separation between the between like the webcam and the actual game. And like, yeah, technically it blocks a little bit more space, but I don't know, I like it more. That being said, obviously I'm being kind of a hypocrite here because I'm doing the VTuber thing, but I feel like it works better for VTubing. Like, even before I started doing it myself, I felt like it worked better. Not necessarily works better, I don't know. It just, it doesn't bother me with VTubers, so, and that's why I do it, because it's so much. That's the other thing, right? I don't want to necessarily like take a picture behind me, but then have the VTube model instead of like a, you know, an actual person, I guess. So like, you kind of would have to get like a custom drawn background, or, you know, something, right? But then it's like, well, at that point, why are you like creating extra work for yourself when it does, again, just kind of block more of the screen? But also, that's why I actually have like the name bar box or whatever. That's specifically so that way I can like move my model around the screen and put it wherever I kind of need to. I'm still blocking some stuff, right? I'm blocking like some of the options there for while I'm the picnic, but I don't care that much about that. But that way I'm not like just stuck at the bottom of the screen. But yeah, I don't know. I need to look into the extensions. The thing is, I've kind of like tried to look at that stuff before, and like everything seemed like very unnecessary, or stuff that's like really good. Like for bigger streamers, but like for smaller streamers, it's just pointless. Oh, if you like you on the bottom, hey now. Okay. Or like stuff that kind of is gonna... I feel like it's embarrassing. Like part of why I on my NSO stuff. So like when I do the Game Boy Advance games or whatever. Which by the way, the Genesis actually just got 4 new titles added to it, which is awesome. I was actually kind of expecting they were probably mostly done with that, but I mean, awesome. More stuff, right? More games that I've never even heard of, and one day I'll get around to playing. But, you know, there's usually, like, a lot of dead space when I do that, like, above my model. But where there's no, like, actual gameplay, because it's not a 16:9, it's a 4:3 game. But, like, you know, most big, or any, even, like, somewhat more than tiny streamer, right? Usually you put your chat there. Because it's dead space, and, you know, it's kind of interesting, especially when you upload to YouTube. Or that way, you know, you can just, yeah. And so it's just, the reason why I don't do that is because oftentimes, like, you get a lot of times where there's nothing going on with chat, and to me it just feels embarrassing that it's like, oh yeah, I'm, like, expecting so much here that I'm going to have people chatting when literally no one shows up. That was the case for a while. Obviously, as you grow as a streamer, you get more people in, but early on it just felt weird. And that isn't to say that, like, you should feel embarrassed if you're streaming and, like, no one's chatting or anything. It's just, that's how it felt to me. You can always go with the whole no cam setup. Yeah, I mean, there was a while where, I mean, no, like, it didn't seem like you could do that. Like, it kind of felt pointless to not have a cam on stream, you know, in the early days. Because it's like, oh, well, you know, like, the point is people are coming in to see you live. But, I mean, so many people do that now. And I get it, right? Because it's nice to not have to worry about setting any of that stuff up and not worry about what you look like. It's like, yeah, just do your thing. Talking to the microphone. There's always been people who don't do a cam, though. But yeah, it's definitely a lot more common now, I think. Of course, there's also some channels that don't even, like, have a... They don't even, like, have a microphone for it. I'm not including the speedrunner stuff, too, because that's kind of a separate thing with speedrunners, because they're mostly just doing a live stream so that they have, like, proof of them doing their run. So they're not really going to be interacting a whole lot. Also, because you kind of have to focus to do speedrunning. Yeah, I mean, I've seen people before that don't even have, like, a microphone, and they'll even, like, say in their thing, it's like no commentary. It's like, why? Just go watch a YouTube channel. That, like, if you as the streamer are not adding anything yourself to the stream, there's no point in you doing the stream. I'm sorry. Like, if I can watch a YouTube video and get literally the exact same experience, then sorry. But to be fair, it has been a while since I saw that. I just remember it was a long, long time ago when I tried to do streaming on a different account. I was like, you know, I would go and look into what other people are, like, for games that I'm planning on playing on stream, look into what other people are doing as well, or, like, watch some of their stuff. I just remember there was one actually with Mass Effect, going back to that conversation, where it was like a no commentary stream. It's like, why? I just don't get it. Granted, I guess to a lot of people, right, it makes no sense to be interacting with a fucking dude who uses a anime bunny boy as his avatar and, like, watching someone else play the game. Although, you can't even call it gameplay with me, because I'm literally just standing here not doing anything, right? There's probably plenty of people that would think, like, this is, what's wrong with you, you know? But I don't know. Personally, I feel like, again, if you aren't adding anything to the actual content being created, I mean, really, you're not even... You probably shouldn't be uploading that to YouTube, just because at that point you're not even like anywhere in the vicinity of transformative. Like, that's part of the whole thing with you know, like with video game content on YouTube and whatnot. It's like, well, you're adding something to it, right? Like, yes, you are using someone else's intellectual property, but you're adding your own, I want to say content, but you're adding to the content that's being created. It's not just you uploading someone else's intellectual property. I do understand for like some archival stuff, having like playthroughs of games and stuff, but like, as you know, that's not really a big enough thing by itself to justify, you know, hundreds or thousands of different channels. But again, like, you can make an argument about the archival use, but again, if it's just, I don't see the point of it on a live platform when the point is like interaction generally. It's difficult keeping up with what's new and hot to stream. I mean, for me, it's really easy. I just play whatever the most recent Pokemon game is. I mean, it's not hard. You know, you're not going to go wrong with playing Pokemon on stream. Plenty of people, it has plenty of audience. Even like older games, you're going to get people coming in. Not as many, but they will, you know, trickle in. But yeah, that's the thing with, like, you know, figuring out what games you want to stream and stuff. If you're more of a variety streamer, it's like, you know, try and play new stuff, I guess, but it's just like, yeah, trying to keep it, you know, trying to figure out what people actually want to watch, but then also you have to remember that there's thousands of other streamers also trying to do the same thing. And if a whole bunch of you are crowded onto one channel, that's just a lot of people not getting a lot of views. You know, because people are only gonna, you can watch more than one stream at a time, but I mean, even 2 streams at once is going to be kind of chaotic and trying to keep track, and past that it's just going to be noise, right? Yeah, but channels tend to spike. Yeah, I mean, that's very true. As you know, I mean, one of the reasons why Ninja blew up the way that he did was obviously he pushed for it, right? He wanted to be the biggest channel, but also Fortnite was blowing up and going to these insane numbers, the likes of which we've, you know, basically never seen before, you know, for games in terms of popularity, and he was the face of it, so that just shot him up into the moon. But also now he's getting all these views, which is getting people to want to actually play Fortnite, right? Because people are hopping over to be like, what the fuck is this all about, you know? Like, how is this dude getting thousands and thousands and thousands of people viewing at once? How is this dude streaming with Drake? What is this? What's this about? And then that gets them into Fortnite because, hey, you don't have to buy it, right? It's free. Just ignore the fact that basically any cosmetics are going to start costing you. Or certainly the ones that anyone cares about, right? But yeah, so it's definitely good to get in at the beginning, but also, I mean, being able to like call that is going to be very difficult. Like predicting that a game is going to blow up and getting to be like the front of that, you know, and also it not being like a thing where, you know, a ton of other people are also trying to do the exact same thing with that game. Like, I think a lot of people, myself included, kind of brushed off Fortnite when the Battle Royale came out because the original game was like, it came out and that was it and no one cared. And then so when Battle Royale came out, it's like, okay, it's interesting if there's building in a Battle Royale, but like, is this gonna pull anyone from PUBG or H1Z1, whatever their Royale mode was? And oh boy, did it. It's also funny, though, that you see Fortnite has actually come around in the other direction where the building just got so absurd and shit. And then eventually, what was that, a year or so ago, they added a no-build mode I think it was just supposed to be a like temporary thing. And then everyone was like, oh my god, this is great. It's like Fortnite, but you can actually be competitive because people aren't macro at building a goddamn entire fortress in 0.3 milliseconds. So it's just kind of funny to see that thing where the like killer feature of Fortnite within the Battle Royale space was building. But then they made a mode that removed the building, and because they'd been so long, people were like, oh wait, this is actually really cool now. And made it a lot more accessible for new players again. You were a variety stream, but decided to stop trying to keep up with the newer stuff. Yeah, I mean, if you don't enjoy something, don't try and stream it. Because the fact of the matter is, you know, even if it's like, oh, but you get so many viewers, right? But if you're not enjoying it, people will be able to tell. Unless you're really good at faking it. I mean, some people are good actors. And I imagine a lot of those do decently on Twitch because they just are always hopping to the new big thing. But like, unless you're really good at keeping up that, you know, like that front that you're just having the best time even when you don't like the game, people will tell, and then your content is not going to be as good, you know. As much as there was that period of time where, like, you know, the thing on YouTube was to be the angry gamer, right? Being pissed off about stuff and all that, like screaming at the mic and stuff like that. Like, there was a time for that, but even then, that was so far past in the other direction that it kind of wrapped back around to being interesting again. But someone just be like, yeah, I don't know, guys. This game kind of sucks. Whatever. I mean, I'm going to keep playing it, but it's okay. It's whatever. Like, it's just not interesting. No one cares. Like, no one's going to stick around to watch that shit. Stuck to what I enjoyed, and damn the shit that wasn't for me. Yeah. Like, you do want to try and, you know, depending on what type of streamer you want to be, again, right? Like, I'm basically only Pokemon, so I'm not going to really be trying other stuff too often. But, you know, if you're a variety streamer, like, yeah, try new stuff, you know, try the newer games, especially when big titles come out. You can do it for a stream, but also don't feel like you have to play a game that you know you're not going to enjoy, because it will just, like I said, it will very much come across in your content. Unless your entire content is, I play and suffer through bad games, which some people do. But again, they're still like making it entertaining. Okay, we're definitely done with this sandwich. Let's go check our boxes. What do we got? Oh, wow, almost like 2.5 boxes. Nice. Love to see it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's some people like channel that I watch a lot of when I'm able to anyways is Mr. Sark, and he has this like giant Steam library of like 1,000 games, which granted that doesn't sound like that much, but it's like, it's when he worked for like various media companies, like when he worked for Machinima, and so they would get these games, or they would even just buy them, just be like, you know, in case they were going to care about it or something. And so many of those games on that list are just garbage. Like, absolute indie trash that just, like, you know, the stuff that you expect to see on Steam nowadays, right? Where it's either AAA titles, indie gems, or just garbage. But, like, the stuff being just, like, broken, terrible games, he, like, actually makes it fun and interesting. Because part of the fun is him having to, like, suffer through dealing with the fucking shitty game. And he mostly commits himself to, like, actually beating the game. Like, if the game isn't beatable, he won't stick around, right? But he will try and push through the garbage, because it's just funny to see how bad some games are, right? And every once in a while, there's a game in there. It's like, actually, that was pretty good. Or at least, you know, executed what they were trying to do, even if it was like, you know, a short experience or something. Yeah, too much garbage these days. Yeah, I mean, it's... I don't know. I'm glad that Steam is much more open than it was in, like, the old days. where getting like indie titles published on Steam is much easier, and it means that you get some of those indie games. Like, would Stardew Valley have gotten uploaded to Steam originally if they had kept as strict as they were years previously? Maybe not, right? Because it was one guy basically made like 99.9% of the game and didn't have a publisher or anything. It wasn't until he had released the game that he actually he did outsource porting it to the consoles and stuff, which is actually, if I remember correctly, he ran into issues because of that, because like some of that ended up not being well done, or just like it's just bad companies, right? But I mean, for every Stardew Valley, you have 100 sex with furry Hitlers or whatever the fuck, whatever that. I really wish Steam would do a better job with that shit. Ultimately, I don't care if that stuff's on the platform, but I would really appreciate if they were much better about like forcing them to have the proper tags and stuff for it, and if they're like not doing that, just ban them from the platform. Because if like in theory, I have no problem with boy, this is a real dangerous discussion to have on Twitch. I think I'm fine though. But like in theory, I don't mind games at all with sexual content. Like I really don't. But also, generally, I'm not gonna care about a game where it's just the sexual content. It's just like an adult game. Like, like again, let's go back to Mass Effect. Mass Effect has a sex scene. And actually, boy, did the conservatives really get their panties in a whole bunch about that one. The whole fucking, this game's just about like having sex with aliens or whatever nonsense Fox News fucking put out. But like, so the game has a sex scene, which I don't mind. In fact, maybe I enjoy it, Anyways. But then there's the games that were like, literally all this is just like a $5 trashed like porn game. And it's just like, alright, you didn't even like put any actual effort into this. Go away. Like, just force the games where the entire point of the game is hentai. Or, whatever. And just make those have to like use the specific tag, so that way you can just block those games, because like they have the feature to filter out some of the like more the stuff that is just like in theory like make it so that there's no sexual content at all, or there's sexual content but like in theory it's not really an adult game. But like so many of those fucking games, because there's at least like one a day I feel like that gets uploaded to Steam, and it's just like they won't have like the tags that they would have to not see that game pop up, so it doesn't even help me to do that. Plus, I mean, occasionally you get not that I would know anything about games like this, but games like Honey Pop or whatever, where it's like, oh wait a second, this is actually like a good game that also just happens to be heavily about sex. And I don't necessarily mind that stuff coming up onto, my page on Twitch. Be like, hey, do you want to check this out? But so much of it is just garbage, and it's to such a degree where it's like, okay, please, can I just filter this? You want to know about that? I mean, to be fair about that, fucking a lot of YouTube channels made videos about Honey Pot back in the day. Because it was like this absurd thing, but also people were like, actually though, no joke, the puzzle mechanic is actually good. But, don't worry about it. Anyways. Yeah, you gotta love when media blows one small part of a game out of proportion. Yeah, that was... The best part was the fucking idiot lady that was responsible for it was like... That... She was like, oh, well, that's just what I had heard from a friend about the game. And it's just like, shut the fuck up. I do love that, actually, going back to Mass Effect DLC, the Bring Down the Sky DLC, again, the one that's actually in all the versions of all the re-releases. Pinnacle Station was the one I meant to be talking about, which was the one that apparently got corrupted and they never like restored it, so it's not in the Legendary Edition. But again, it doesn't actually matter. Anyways, Bring Down the Sky, there's like a radio station in one of the things where like you can like scan one of the files, and it's just some like random filler type text stuff. But occasionally when you scan that one, it'll actually give you this thing talk about how they might have to change the songs on the station because people are complaining about it makes people want to have sex with aliens or whatever. It's like some like direct dig right back at that fucking article, which is fucking brilliant. But yeah, it's ultimately at the end of the day, I'd rather Steam be an open platform because having at least one big player that is so accessible to indie devs is awesome. Because again, a game like Stardew might not have been certainly would not have been as popular, right? Sure, you get stuff like Minecraft where like, okay, they sold it on their own platform, or not even their own platform, they just sold it by themselves. But like, you know, I don't think Stardew Valley, it would have been popular eventually, right? But it would not have had like that immediate like, holy shit, this game is incredible. I really do want to play Stardew on stream at some point. Just every time I like mean to do so, I like end up just getting distracted with other stuff, or just I'm worried about not having the time for it, stuff like that. One thing I have been kind of doing on Steam recently, or I'm going to start doing soon. Well, there's two different things. So I've been like kind of caring about my achievements again, which is weird because Steam is like the worst platform for that. But not, you know, just trying to like get the completion percentage up. And then one of the things I need to do for that is I need to actually go back and like remove some of the like garbage nonsense that I bought that was just like, oh, Lamau, this is like a $2 game and it has like 2,000 achievements. Sure. And then you literally play the game for like 5 minutes and you have all the achievements. So there's a couple that are like that. So I need to go through you know, remove the garbage. So none of them are going to keep. The ones that have trading cards, basically, they're just going to have to stay there. Because, I mean, I could remove those, but also the chance of getting a trading card in the future. The fact that I could make an even, you know, 3 additional pennies someday outweighs how much I care about the achievements. But I'm also going to, like, start going through and trying to actually complete more achievements in games. And one of those is like Stardew. Stardew is one that I didn't really care about the achievements, but now I kind of do, just because again I want to get that percentage up. Achievement hunting on Steam pisses me off because I can't remove games that no longer exist. You can't remove them if they don't exist anymore? That's interesting. A game I absolutely love called Minimum, I can no longer get its achievements. Huh. I wasn't aware that would happen if they got removed from Steam. And you're sure, because it doesn't exist? I guess it makes sense. I just find it weird because I've gotten trading cards, like the card packs that you get with too many of that game, like too many of those cards get used, then the Steam will randomly give out a card pack to people just to try and keep cards in the economy. But I've gotten those for games that have been removed. That's why I'm surprised the achievements don't work. But yeah, like, in theory, if all you cared about was the achievement percentage type stuff, I think you could probably still all get them to remove the game from your account, but then you wouldn't be able to play the game anymore. Like, that's what I'm going to be doing, right? Because you can actually, there's like a support page for it where you can actually select a game on your account and be like, hey, just remove this from the account. Not like hiding, not like a hidden game, like straight up, I want this game gone, doesn't exist. I have no way to access it ever again. It's just gone, right? One of the achievements, block breaker, eliminate 100 players. Oh, okay. So is it... So you can't get the achievement because it's like multiplayer type stuff. So and because there aren't other players, it's kind of locked out. Because I assumed you were talking like if the game didn't exist on Steam anymore, then just like the achievement system completely broke and doesn't work. But yeah, that would make a lot of sense. There aren't any servers. Yeah, okay, so that would do it. Oh wait, did I? No, I just running around. So like in theory, if it had like single player achievements, then you could still at least get those, right? Although I do actually wonder on that too as well, if games that have been removed from Steam appear like publicly for your stats and stuff. Possibly I don't own any single player games that have been removed. I'll have to try and look into that tonight. I would assume it would, though. Again, if I've gotten trading cards that you can't do anything with, or I think you can. I think you can open the pack and like if you have a full set of cards, then you can still like craft badges and stuff. But like normally, you know, for if it's a game I don't care about, I'll just sell the cards or sell the pack. Or usually I open the pack, sell the cards. But like it says hovering over it that you can't put this card on the this item on the marketplace because the game doesn't exist, which is funny. So I would have to assume if that like mechanic still works, if that system still works, that removed games still have achievements that work. But again, if it's something that requires multiplayer, yeah, unfortunately you're probably hosed. I don't see why we can't even do community servers. Well, I'm sure there's a way to hack it to do that, but it's because the game is like removed from Steam. There's just like there's not really going to be a lot of support for features at that point. Was it like removed by the developer, or was it like Steam banned the game for whatever reason? By the dev, then yeah, it's like in theory I'm pretty sure you can just like remove it from the store but not like remove the game, you know. I would assume there's some way to do that, just like not make it able to be purchased anymore. But maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, I mean that they would have had to set it up beforehand. can't search for it, but if you have the link, you can still get to store it. Yeah. I would assume Steam never actually deletes anything. They just kind of hide it. For that reason, it probably would, like, cause issues if they did that, right? But yeah, that's just a thing where the developer would have needed to have some way supported for community servers. Because honestly, I think if they had figured out having community servers and then took the game down, they would probably work just fine. With how much stuff that still works even when the game is supposedly removed. It is weird when a developer removes their game, though, because it's like, I don't know. You'd think they want to keep it up so that way they can get whatever small number of sales they can, right? Because it's not like it's not like it costs them anything to have it on Steam. Valve takes their cut of every sale, but I don't think they charge like a hosting fee. But who knows? If it, it could be a thing where they had to remove it because they were breaking some law or something. They have an in-game store too for their in-game currency. But no matter what you buy, your account. Yeah, I mean that's just they don't have any server set up for it anymore, or something like that. So it's just like, yeah, they just, they decided they don't want that game up anymore. I guess to be fair, if it is a multiplayer game, if they maybe had to have their own servers set up for it, then maybe, they literally just did not have enough going on in terms of revenue to even justify just keeping the servers on. And yeah, I guess if they're not going to have the servers on, then they're not going to want to sell the game because that could probably get them into trouble. I guess that could be it. Also, yeah, I guess that it sounds like that is like a multiplayer only game, so I guess it makes more sense for multiplayer games like that. Makes sense. Also, the game's free to play. Ah, yeah. So it's just, I guess they just were not making enough money to justify its existence anymore, because it was actively costing them money to keep it going. Still makes you, with a free to play game though, at that point it's like, well, you're not getting any, it's not like you're still selling the game. Like, it's just, try it. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Who cares? So leave it up, and then microtransactions might not work, but you can try and, again, allow community servers, but who knows? Alrighty. So I think I'm gonna do Atari Publisher Cube Productions LLC, yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see a publisher pulling the cord on it too. That actually makes a lot more sense, because yeah, publishers are typically kind of stupid about that kind of stuff. Or not stupid, but it's just, just absolutely like, if some decision isn't going to make more money than it's going to cost, then absolutely not. Which, just at the basic level, developing a system to allow community servers will cost more money than not doing that. I won't, it's not going to make any money. Except that, you know, having people like actually like your company and are willing to buy your future products because they know that even when it kind of reaches end of life status, you'll still be able to play the game, is, you know, kind of encourages people to buy more of your games in the future. But, you know, again, publishers are not always run by the smartest people. Well, very smart people in terms of just extracting money and maximizing their paycheck. And then by the time it's gonna like actually hurt them, I mean, they're already looking for a new job anyways. They have other games that actually make money though, so it's not like they want... Right, but again, just because you have other products that are making money, that doesn't mean you should necessarily have a reason to keep around a product that's costing you money. Now, on the flip side of that, also, you know, saying earlier, like, making a way to set up private servers for the game is going to be like a one-time cost, right? It's not like that's costing you thousands of dollars every month. And again, that does help people care about, you know, being getting committed to playing a certain game, because it's like, well, I know that this will be around. I don't have to worry about it going away. But I mean, just because they have their other games making money doesn't mean they should necessarily prop up the one that's losing money. But yeah, so I think I'll do probably one more set of eggs. Where are we at on this? Yeah, probably do like one more set. Hold on a sec. Boxes. We'll see where we're at by the end of this. Like you said, they could have made a community ran. Right, but I would assume there was no, like, private servers originally. And so they didn't want to spend the money to handle that stuff when they, you know, they knew they weren't going to make any more money off of it. There was? Okay. Well, then, I don't know. Just companies being dumb, I guess. I'm, like, trying to find the reason why it would make sense, but the only thing I can think of then is, like, security issues. Like having this old software that you aren't actually updating, especially if since it did have microtransactions at one point. Just, like, making sure that, like, you don't potentially have a vulnerability there. Even if you, like, remove the microtransaction stuff, I don't know. Otherwise, I get your justifications. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes companies just make stupid decisions. No microtransactions. Oh, okay. When you said it earlier, okay. Yes, okay. So I thought there was microtransactions to buy the currency. I mean, if it was just a free game, then yeah, I don't know at that point. Because, yeah, at that point, then it's like, well, yeah, you aren't making money off of this, but also you already weren't making money off of it, and you already had community stuff? I don't know. That's just weird. Oh, I had actually that's the last one. Whoops. Okay. All right. Even looked into buying the game title from them and hosting yourself, but that's millions of... Yeah, I mean, that's committed to that game, that's for sure, but, yeah, who knows? I mean, if they were going to pull down the title completely, even when they had community stuff, on something that was like a free-to-play game anyways, then like they're probably just gonna be weird protective about their intellectual property. It is published by Atari, so I mean, Japanese companies seem to be a little bit more conservative in that, like, they do not relinquish control of their stuff, especially to the West, typically. I like this song every time it comes up. It's like one of the few songs that actually has like a vocal track to it. It's one thing I kind of wish Harris Heller did more of. Like, it makes it easier to use his background music to not have any... Whoops. I hit the wrong button when I was trying to hit my stuff. Whoops. But yeah, like, it makes it easier to just use his, like, basic background music. But also, like, having an audio track is nice, too, sometimes. A lot of times, actually. Huh? Oh, that's why. Okay. My... the way that you use my counter program, which maybe one day I'll get around to, like, making more user-friendly so I can release it. Because I know it's something people would like, but also, who knows. But yeah, it's literally just like a command terminal. BRB, gonna grab a drink. Okay, no worries, man. So yeah, it's, you can, like, hit the wrong button. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just hitting the plus sign and then hitting enter and like entering it as text. And then the program goes, oh, okay, you entered this, so we're gonna do this. Like, I can hit a minus to subtract as well. I know, crazy that I would have it set up like that. But yeah, instead of just like, because usually with like, you know, the death counter or whatever, you just press the button and it just goes. You don't have to hit enter. And, like, it works even with the programs in the background. Which are both things I could figure out, but, like, I know there's a solution to do that. It's just more work that I have to do with Python. But also, I mean, so far anyways, I've only ever used this for myself, so I don't really need... You know, it doesn't need to look nice or anything, it just needs to do its job. But yeah, I can see it being a thing that people want. I mean, it's like, it's nice to have a program that just calculates the probabilities and stuff for you. Because again, I mean, we're really deep into this, so odds are, if you're still watching, thank you, by the way, on YouTube. You've probably already heard me explain how some of this stuff works before, but basically so like underneath the name bar and the song, you have, you know, the Tauros there, and that's the shiny Tauros, so it's like showing off what it looks like. And then you have the number that I've hatched for eggs, which is the 105, and then you have that percentage number, and that percentage is after 105 eggs. How likely is it that I would have seen exactly one shiny? Or at least one shiny, rather, sorry. So it's just like... So in this case, there's... After 106 eggs, right? There's an 18.71% chance that at least one of them would have been a shiny. That does not mean that the next one has an 18.71% chance of being shiny. It's still just 1 in 512. But you're basically just there's basically a way to show like how lucky or unlucky you have been. So like if it goes over 50%, that means like 50% of shiny hunts would have already seen it already, right? Where if it's below 50%, that means most shiny hunts would take longer. It doesn't quite line up with how you think it would. Like, it's not like at 512 eggs, it's a 50% chance. It doesn't quite work out like that, but it's You actually get to 50% somewhere in the 300s, I believe. Because it's just a weird way that, you know, odds work. But, I mean, the thing is, right, there's never a point where you are guaranteed to have seen a shiny either. Like, in theory, you could do 10 or 20,000 eggs and not get a shiny out of it, even at 1 in 512 odds. It's just not very likely for that to happen. But it theoretically could. It's just, when I say unlikely, we're talking like Powerball lottery ticket odds type stuff at that point. Because basically, at that point, you're looking at it as, what are the odds that rolling a 511 out of 512 odds 10,000 times, you're very likely to have a few that are not going to hit, right? Obviously, the majority of them will, right? 511 out of 512 will be, you would hit on that, but it's that one is gonna come up at least a few times. Most likely, again, it doesn't necessarily have to. Just if you roll, even if you have almost guaranteed luck that you will get something, if you roll the dice enough times on that, you will eventually have the one time where you don't get it. And so this is just kind of like the opposite of that, if that makes any sense. Probably not. I've always been really bad about explaining that stuff. But just again, there's a 19.35% chance that I would have seen at least one shiny by now. That's basically the main thing you need to know about that number. But yeah, from what I've seen, there's not really any other, like any other programs that do that for you. That are like at least intended for, like Pokemon and shiny hunting. They might exist in some capacity for other stuff, but the thing is, it also needs to be able to be easy for me to show on stream. That's like part of it. Like this program, as well as I believe the death counter also works the same way, if I remember correctly. What it's doing is it's every time I update it, it writes to a text file, and then the actual like text that you see on screen or the numbers, that's just reading from that text file, and so it just, you know, periodically updates. I would assume like at least once a second or something like that. And so when you update the file, it updates what happens on screen. In theory, you could have it like be in the program. It's like you could just like window capture it or something, which could work. I mean, again, there's like, because there's definitely ways to kind of green screen that stuff, so it'd be removed into the you can remove the background on it. All right, we are kind of getting near the end here. Oops. So we only got, let's see, let's organize these a little bit. We got three more full sets plus a set of 4. You're back. Welcome back. So let's see. I think I might actually wrap up after this set, to be honest. Yeah, because I can't, if I do another set, I'm gonna go past like 3 a.m., which I don't necessarily mind doing. But tonight I kind of want to wrap up a little bit earlier. So only like a 2.5 hour stream instead of like 3 hours. That's the thing. It's gonna be like, it's gonna almost be another 4 hour stream, and I don't want to do that tonight. But who knows? Maybe we'll get this shiny in like one of these next few eggs. Next like 19 eggs I got. I'm wrapping up because you're back, rude. Yeah, I deliberately waited until you came back so that way I could end. This is another one of the fun songs. But yeah, I mean, we'll be doing more shiny hunting tomorrow. And even if we get this right now, we'll just move on to Aqua Breed tomorrow. And then, yeah, I think Friday I have scheduled to be Blissey raids. It makes most sense because it would be the closest to those coming out again. With my program, what happens if I do ++? Oh, it just throws an error. So it doesn't crash the program, because it's possible to make it do that very easily, actually. As long as if you don't set it up to know what the hell to do when it gets like something it doesn't know what to do with. But yeah, basically it's just looking to see, is there A+ or A-? And if there's like multiple plus, if there's anything else in there, then it like goes like, hey, try that again. That's not correct. In theory, I could set it up to do like other stuff, but realistic, like, you know, you could do like +3 and add 3 or something. But like at that point, I'm just gonna get it set up so that way it's more user friendly. I feel like it'd be better if you can get it to detect that the egg is hatching. Some of the other Pokemon games, there's definitely ways to do that, because there'll be more of a like a flash of light. Actually, I guess there kind of is right when it hatches, huh? You can absolutely do that, but that is, you need someone a lot smarter than me setting that up. I know someone set it up with one of the HoloLive VTubers, I think, was fishing for a shiny Magikarp in BDSP, and they someone set up a program to like go through all of her streams to figure out how many that she'd actually gone through, because she wasn't actually using a counter for it, but they set it up so it would just auto detect for it, and they got like a pretty good number of how many eggs or how many times she had to fish for it. It just needs the image counter. Yeah, it's just getting it to detect properly. Again, absolutely can be done. I'm not smart enough to do that. If I sat there for like a day or two, I could probably get it figured out, but I just don't care enough. Yes, you are. Just need to learn how. Okay, well, I'm also not motivated enough to learn how to do it. Personally, I don't at all mind hitting the button. Gotta stop putting yourself down. I mean, that's not even really putting myself down. I'm just saying I'm not going to spend the time doing it. Again, like I was just saying, just pressing the button doesn't bother me at all. Like, yeah, occasionally I miss some, but like usually I have it set up in such a way that I can at least like double check, you know? I just kind of have to pay attention to what my numbers are at and stuff. Found myself not smart as not playing stuff. I mean, realistically, it's just being honest. But it's just, I don't know. It's a combination of like everything. It's like I'm not going to be able to just look at it and be like, oh, this is what I need to do. I'm not gonna take the time to do it, because ultimately, it works well enough. Again, it's a program that I use through a command prompt terminal thing, instead of like having any sort of actual interface for it. So it's, you know, this thing is very bare bones. Yeah, I mean, it does its job. It gives me 2 numbers that I can put up on the screen, and I mean, that's really all I need. maybe one day I will get around to making it actually user-friendly, just so that other people can actually use it. I mean, I could upload it how it is right now. It's just, you know, again, it's not user-friendly at all. And also, actually, I think some of the, 2 numbers in image. No, yeah, the image is just, through OBS. That's just upload an image file. But yeah, it's just, like, I think some of the, because there's, like, different, settings within the program, where it's, like, for some of the different things, like with Dynamax Adventures, or, when I did, Poké Radar stuff, I actually had a decently complex, like, thing set up for that. For, like, tracking, like, what the current odds were, and then also, like, how many resets I had done, and all that stuff. And some of those, I think, if you enter the... I never, like, really did them right, so if you enter something wrong, it just, like, kills the program. Or it doesn't say, like, that anything went wrong, it just doesn't update. Just stuff like that. Just, like you know... It's too easy to use improperly, and that makes it very, very unlikely that anyone would actually bother to use it. Because ultimately, like, that number, who cares? Like, most people don't really care about that number, that percentage, because it's, you can basically guess based on the odds, or off the number of eggs hatched, you know? And that, I mean, as it is, most people use that, and that, you know, that's just fine. They just use the death counter and soundboard. Which is a great program, honestly, for, I mean, what it does. Actually, it might be worth me reinstalling that for doing, like, soundboard stuff. But, you know, that's another one of those things that I'm not gonna do right now, and maybe I'll do it in the future. But also, at that point, I mean, just get, like, a Steam Deck, or a Stream Deck, rather. Steam Deck would not be helpful for this at all. I mean, I guess you can stream a Steam Deck if you have the dock now, right? But no, I meant a Stream Deck. The thing that Elgato sells. Which, based on the fact that no one else I've seen really makes anything exactly like that, I'm gonna go ahead and assume they have it patented to all hell and back again. But I mean, that's not surprising either. It is it is something they came up with that other people hadn't done yet, and it actually has, like, not just the keys, but, like, you can actually, like, you know, each key has a display on it as well, so that way you actually can, like, just visually look at it and know what it's gonna do. You can still stream the Steam Deck if you... Okay. Well, that's what I meant, right? Because you kind of have to, like, go through a dock, wouldn't you? Anyways, we got 4 more eggs here, and then we're gonna wrap up for the night. So looking like no shiny, but I mean, we didn't get a shiny on the first hunt for the other thing. No? Oh. Just need the appropriate cables. Huh. I guess, okay. I guess, yeah, the thing with the dock for the Steam Deck is that it's, like... It's mostly just, like, more of a dock like the Switch, but, like, you could always have done just a HDMI cable or whatever. I guess that makes sense. I do still find it a little bit interesting. They launched the Steam Deck and it didn't have the dock even, like, available until a few days or a few weeks or months, I think, even later. But, I mean, it did extremely well, right? So, what do I know? But yeah, so we'll be doing more more Blaze Breed Tauros tomorrow. Again, we'll be doing some Blissey raids on the dock is more like a charger base because the Steam Deck is handheld. Yeah. Oh, I guess that is a good point. I hadn't thought about how you would control it when it's like docked. I assumed like just some sort of mouse and keyboard setup. But again, at least for right now, I don't personally have a lot of need or interest into the Steam Deck, so all I know is just like seeing like posts and stuff on YouTube and whatnot about it. Anyways, let's go ahead and check through those. But yeah, so Blissey Friday, we'll be doing, and then there's more shiny hunting after that. For the time being, we are just hardcore into Scarlet and Violet breeding, along with raids, of course. And then when at some point here, we'll get back to like a Lowland Raichu and Let's Go Eevee and stuff like that. But I don't know, just for right now, I'm pretty happy with just getting back into my, you know, back to how I started streaming, right? Just breed like crazy. That sounds a little weird. Anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna wrap up there. Thank you so very much for if you gotten this far. I do definitely appreciate it. YouTube, if you want to check out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/PanicOsGaming. I try to stream every Wednesday through Sunday, typically 2 to 3 hours a piece, usually starting around midnight or so. I think tonight we started at like 11:15. Midnight Mountain Standard Time, by the way. But yeah, as you can see from the channel, basically just going to be a whole lot of shiny hunting. I've also done like playthroughs of a bunch of the Switch games, so, you know, Sword and Shield, Legends Arceus, that type of stuff. But yeah, like, come check it out, because when we do get the shinies and you're in the chat and it's live and it's happening, it's pretty hype. Anyways, though, regardless if you do, thank you so very much, everyone who's watched. I do definitely appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next time.